Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We are taking a look today at the latest on the trade rumors between Jonathan Quick potentially going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll be taking a look at that in this video. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, want to help us hit 1,000 subscribers, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even bigger, subscribe down below, and let's take a look at the Los Angeles Kings potentially moving on from Jonathan Quick. So, according to David Paginotta, the LA Kings have spoken to the Toronto Maple Leafs about Jonathan Quick. Nothing is imminent right now, but belief is that Freddie Andersen would go the other way. So this is interesting. So we're going to take a look at the Los Angeles Kings. Now, the LA Kings, this is something to remember. They have the most cap space in the NHL right now. They have a little over $9 million of cap space, and this is a team that might make a move here. So Jonathan Quick, and this is a reason why I think the Leafs would be interested in Jonathan Quick. So he's 35 years old. He's a little bit older. He'll be 38 at the end of this contract, but there's always a big but there. Hopefully a nice one. $5.8 million per season for Jonathan Quick till 2023. He's 35 years old, and he has done quite well this season with the LA Kings, which brings up the question, maybe the LA Kings will move on from Jonathan Quick and bring in Cal Peterson. So, with that said, let's do some mock trades. So you've got $5.8 million in Jonathan Quick. Let's say LA retains $800,000 off that, right? So now it's a $5 million contract per year, which is much better than what they're probably going to see from Freddie Andersen. He's going to want $6, maybe $7 million in his deal. I'm going to say 6 to 6.5. Let's be realistic. 6 to 6.5. So that's $1.5 million that the Toronto Maple Leafs are really saving for the next couple years, and he's been a reliable goaltender, right? Let's take a look at the Leafs. The Leafs, where are they? There we go. So the Leafs have a little over $100,000 in cap space, so they have no cap space. Freddie Andersen is also carrying $5 million per season. So let's say, hypothetically, they keep that $800,000 LA. They retain $800,000. It's the same exact amount of salary per season compared to Freddie Andersen, who, like we said, Andersen's going to want a pay raise. Even if it's let's say he asks for $5.5 million per season, that's still more than the Leafs are taking on right now. If they do this thing with Jonathan Quick, they'd actually be saving money in the long term. Now, the thing is, Freddie Andersen is 4 years younger than Jonathan Quick, which is something that you have to keep an eye on. But again, with salary cap situations, this is kind of how the salary cap works. You might have to downgrade a little bit in order to save cap space. And when you have the big guns like John Tavares, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, making the money they make, you have to make sacrifices, and it may come in between the pipes. But Jack Campbell has looked really solid in between the pipes. So worst case, even if Jonathan Quick is not himself at his fullest form, yes, the Leaf fans will berate him, but he's still a good enough goaltender where Jack Campbell and Jonathan Quick could reunite as a goaltending tandem, which I just thought about that. That would be interesting. The LA Kings tandem going over to the Maple Leafs and reuniting. That would be quite interesting, but we may see it happen here. I would have to think that salary will not be an issue at that point. So $5 million going each way if LA retains $800,000 on Jonathan Quick. So you've got same salaries, but is that a fair trade? I don't think so. You're probably going to have to see the Kings give up, or the Kings get something. So you have the Leafs' first and second round pick that you could pick up, or Zach Hyman. Is that something the Leafs would do? Would they trade Zach Hyman? Because Zach Hyman is in the final year of a $2.25 million contract. I just don't see how they're going to keep him, because the problem is they don't have any real money coming off the books. It's Freddie Andersen's contract. That's the only contract coming off the books. So what it comes down to is the Toronto Maple Leafs can do one of two things. One, they can get rid of Freddie Andersen, right? And trade him to the LA Kings and not take Jonathan Quick back, so you have $5 million this offseason to work with, so you could re-sign Zach Hyman. You could give him potentially up to $7 million in his next deal, which he's not going to cost that much. Let's be honest. But they have that flexibility. And if they have $2.5 million, let's say they sign him to $5.5 million this offseason, they'd still have a little bit of money to work with, maybe in a trade, maybe in bringing in a depth defenseman or that depth goaltender that they'd be losing in Freddie Andersen if they want to stick with Jack Campbell as their starting goaltender. But let's be honest, the Toronto Maple Leafs are in a window, and if they want Jonathan Quick, they can make that work. But they're not saving any money. They're just retaining where they're at moving forward. So that means Zach Hyman would go, and Zach Hyman would be a nice addition to the LA Kings offense. You have Zach Hyman and Carl Grundstrom, former Toronto Maple Leaf players. That would be a nice group there in LA, a very defensive-minded system. I think that would fit well with Todd McClellan, LA Kings head coach. So I think that would be an interesting fit. But like I said, you're going to have some cap issues in the future because next offseason you have to re-sign Morgan Rielly. That's not going to be fun. Ilya Mikheyev, he's not going to see a significant raise, so I'm not too worried about that. So that's pretty much it. I mean, maybe Alex Kerfoot. Maybe if you move Alex Kerfoot and Freddie Andersen, maybe that's enough salary. You have around $5.5 million between, moving on from Kerfoot. You could keep Zach Hyman at that point, so maybe that's enough. Because you have to think LA is going to want a little bit more for Jonathan Quick. We know the price tag on Jonathan Quick last offseason. We heard the Buffalo Sabres were in on Jonathan Quick, and the price tag was high. Now, the price tag may not be as high right now. It may be better just suited value because we've seen Quick's value maybe go up, so maybe the expectation of value is closer to where LA is willing to trade him, and teams are willing to buy Jonathan Quick at that price tag. We may see that happen. Now, the only question I see here is Toronto willing to pay another $5 million for the next, let's say, because not this year included, 2 more years of Jonathan Quick, because let's say he does well this season. Right, that works for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They trade for Jonathan Quick. They have stability in between the pipes. The only issue is he going to be good for the following 2 years? And that's a lot of money to retain on a goaltender that who is getting older, because you've seen the quick decline of a Henrik Lundqvist, right? Who he was really good for a couple years in his mid to late 30s, and then he just crashed. Could we see that happen here with Jonathan Quick? He's had this little resurgence here, but in a Leaf system that isn't really beneficial to a guy like Jonathan Quick, I do have my concerns about that. And he's not really a Ryan Miller. I think Ryan Miller is a very good, just mechanics goaltender where he's always in good positioning and stuff, and he's always going to be a good goaltender. He's in his 40s and he's still playing. That's not really the case with Jonathan Quick. He's more of a, just fling the body around and very flexible goaltender, but he doesn't have that. He's more of a hybrid goaltender. He's not necessarily a good stand-up goaltender. He's not positional. He's much more all over the place. And as you get older and your muscles ache a little bit more, that may not suit Jonathan Quick into his late 30s. But I hope he proves me wrong. I think that would be interesting. Now, you may be wondering, why would the Leafs take on Zach Hyman and Freddie Andersen? They're expiring contracts. Well, like I just mentioned, the LA Kings have the most cap space in the league, so they could sign both of Freddie Andersen and Zach Hyman this offseason. That's just how much cap space they have. And if they move out a contract, like say a Jeff Carter or a Dustin Brown, or they buy one of them out, that would give them the flexibility to sign both Freddie Andersen and Zach Hyman. So they have the cap space, they have the roster room where they want to bring those guys in, and hell, I mean, the LA Kings look like they could go on a run even this offseason. So even if they lose one of Freddie Andersen or Freddie Andersen or Zach Hyman, obviously the goal is to keep them there long term. But if not, they have the ability where they're in a window to win. They can win this year. So, and they don't have to give up future assets in the process. They're just giving up Jonathan Quick and maybe another asset. So like I said, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of these rumors? I think they're quite interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this happen. And guys, let's remember, I think the trade deadline is going to be it's not going to be a trade deadline day. It's going to be a trade deadline week and a half, potentially 2 weeks, because the Leafs, ideally, by the trade deadline, have made all their moves, especially all the Canadian teams. And I think once we see one domino fall, teams are going to start to look around. I think the Leafs are going to be the first team to make a move, especially in the forward market. If they pick up, say, a Nick Foligno or a Kyle Palmieri, or a Mikael Granlund. I think they'll be the first team to make a move, and then we're going to see other teams fall into place. Don't be surprised if Winnipeg goes in the defensive market, or the Edmonton Oilers potentially look to bring in another forward or goaltender. Guys, maybe even the Vancouver Canucks. I'm telling you, I could see the Canucks maybe go out and do something. Again, Jim Benning, I think there is reason to believe he realizes his job is a little bit on the hot seat. He could make a move, and I think the Leafs will be that first team to make dominoes fall, and we're going to start to see them fall quite quickly after that. So, guys, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below what do you think of these rumors, and leave some mock trades between the LA Kings and the Toronto Maple Leafs for a Jonathan Quick, Freddie Andersen trade. Let me know down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here, Goal Line Hockey, oh god, that was a bad voice crack. Want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.